Today is a 15-day full moon Uposatha. It's the second Uposatha of the hot season. It's the 5th month of the lunar calendar. And in Southeast Asia here, it's what we call the hot season. And so every half month, we have the Buddha's stipulation for the Sangha to carry out this Sangha Kamma. It's one of our duties. We review and reflect on those training rules, primarily the things which the Buddha laid down, the prohibitions he laid down, and we bring them up for recitation every half month. These are the training rules which are gathered together in what we call the Patimokkha. All told, there are 227 sikkhapadas, which make up the things that we shouldn't do. Because these are the things which lead to inappropriate and unskillful behavior and are not beneficial for living the holy life. So the reason we do this, we carry out this activity of Patimokkha, is to prevent us from getting lost in heedlessness and losing our mindfulness and behaving in ways which are inappropriate. So we reflect and review on our sila and the prohibitions that we might have transgressed. These transgressions of sila come from various causes. Sometimes we commit offences through not knowing. Sometimes we're not sure about the nature of the offence because of doubts. Sometimes there are things which we shouldn't do and we do them. Sometimes there are things that we should do and we don't do them. Sometimes the cause is just lack of mindfulness. And sometimes it's lack of shame, shameless behavior. So we can see these causes and see that there are various different causes which give rise to inappropriate conduct of body and speech. Sometimes it's just conduct of body, sometimes it's just speech, sometimes it's both. Sometimes body, speech and mind. So practicing, we have to have restraint of body and speech, and for this we need to maintain our sati. We have to be constantly careful, cautious in our lives, so that our lives don't give rise to dangerous or states which are disadvantageous, or which will lead to regret or remorse. So we have to be very careful with body and speech with regard to these training rules. And when we do this, we become somebody who knows how to look after himself. We will have sati vinaya, mindfulness and a sense of order and structure, or good behavior, good conduct, and we train in this until this becomes ingrained as our habit, as our habitual tendency. Will be somebody who is constantly aware. And being so, will slowly become one who has himself as his own refuge. But this takes training. And this process of reflecting and reviewing is part of the job. There are some teachings, there are some dhammas that the Buddha called apannaka dhammas, always correct or incontrovertible teachings. Patimokkha sangvara, first being restraint in the Patimokkha, this keeps us away from making mistakes. And when we practice Patimokkha sangvara, it's very much the way of practice for somebody who's learning to look after themselves. Indriya samvara, sense restraint. This training in sense restraint allows us to see very clearly the arising and passing away of moods based on what is piya rupa, sata rupa, pleasing. There are pleasing and delightful things which our senses contact. And so when we're training in sense restraint, we understand the ingoing and the outgoing of these sense bases which arise. We understand the conditional process. We're very careful. Luang, we're very careful with regard to these conditioned phenomena, and then we can abandon it. So this is one aspect of practice. This indriya samvara, sense restraint, is very much bound up with our living in daily life. And it's linked with the second factor, bojane matanyuta, knowing moderation in use of the four requisites or in consumption. And this is an important part of our practice. Knowing how to relate to the material world leads to good bodily health and also freedom from concerns and worry. If we're constantly worried, then it's difficult for knowledge and wisdom to arise. We have to be contented ones, people who know moderation. If there's only a little amount of the four requisites available, then that's enough. If there's a lot, then we just use what's enough as well. The four requisites are for us to use simply for the purpose of keeping away difficulties in our lives, things like heat, cold, or danger from animals or creeping things, or for covering the body. Food is just to keep the body strong and keep our immune system strong, keep away difficulties from the changing of the environment, and to act as a support and to facilitate the development of the mind. And for this we also need jagariya anuyoga, devotion to wakefulness. This is the steady effort to be one who is aware. So we have to be very careful to avoid obstacles and heedlessness. We have to try and abandon these habits and tendencies which lead the mind to deteriorate and will block our spiritual growth. We have to strive to develop wholesome states of mind, kusala. Kusala means mental states which lead to growth in spiritual qualities. And this is of great benefit to oneself and benefit to others. The Buddha said, monks, lead lives which are of benefits to yourselves and others with great heedfulness. So today we gather together to carry out this duty of ours, because we see the value of the work of building up and developing our spiritual faculties and paramis. We give importance to this process of developing ourselves. Remember that we all come into this from the starting point of people who are not yet fully spiritually mature and who do inappropriate things. So we have to learn how to correct and improve and adapt and adjust ourselves to be in line with the principles of practice that the Buddha laid out and left for us. It's called the Traisika, the threefold training. It leads to a pure state of mind. When the body is clean, then our life goes well. Externally, when the mind is clean, we have happiness internally. So we learn how not to get lost in the material world. In the material world, you can look at people and you can designate or label people, tall, short, dark, light, and in these various ways. This is the physical aspect of, say, people. With regard to the mind, though, we learn how to see the various aspects of mind simply arising and passing away. This is called the samsaric cycle, the cycle of sensuality and the cycle of defilements, all just arising and passing away. We see mental states. You compare it to the ocean. The ocean learns how to clean itself. The ocean maintains its cleanliness and purity because it's has waves and tides, so the waves come in and the waves wash out. And as a result, the ocean maintains its cleanliness and is constantly purifying itself. So we can do this with our mind, see those things which are unwholesome, see them with mindfulness, and avoid falling into delusion. Develop mindfulness and vinaya, structure, discipline in our lives. And as a result, we'll be peaceful and quiet and peaceful. But this takes training. But we have this capacity to improve ourselves and develop peace of mind. Is based on having right view. This mind which is sangop, peaceful, this is very much bound up with our ability to let go. and to find seclusion. There's Kaya Vivek, seclusion of body, Chitta Vivek, seclusion of mind, and Upadi Vivek, seclusion from all attachments. So whether we're training in the Sila Sikha, or the training of the mind, the Samadhi Sikha, or developing wisdom, all of this is bound up with Sati Sampajanya. And the Sati Sampajanya arises when we live a pure, holy life. The Buddha said that anyone who lives a pure, holy life doesn't need to worry about other people and be concerned with other people. You have to be concerned with the abandoning of one's own kilet tanha, cravings and attachments. So all of us here, we have to have all-round awareness, mindfulness, both regard the external world and the internal world, so that we're not getting lost in forms and sights and sounds, etc. We have to be pure in our life, and this leads to being free from fear and free from enmity and danger. So this is just one important aspect of the spiritual qualities of those of us who are Dhamma practitioners and dedicated to living lives truly following in the Buddha's path and walking in line with the Buddha's footprints.